In this video, we'll create a sample campaign just for you to see how the Facebook ads interface looks. And for those of you who are familiar with the interface and you know you've already done a few campaigns, you feel free to skip that video. It's just going to show you, the different levels of a campaign and how to basically launch a simple campaign the right way. So what we are going to look at in this video is how the ad manager interface looks. What are the three different levels of a campaign? That would be the campaign settings, the ad sets and targeting options, the ad creatives, and then we'll also look at some basic reports and setup requirements and basically take a look at what we don't know yet at this point. Right, so for this purpose, I have set up a new business manager account and I will create a new ad account in that and I will call it test, or let's say, test account. Now the time zone, as always, is very important because that would be the time zone in which your time is represented in terms of the data. So it's very important that you do not mess this up. And let's say I will just go with LA in this case because it doesn't matter for me, and the currency is going to be the US dollar. Now, this will be used for my business. This is my business account, and so I will create that one over here in this very business manager. And don't worry, I'll show you how to set up your own business manager. In that sense, I need to give myself access to that account as well for me to be able to use it. And now that we are in it, we can go and open it up in Ads Manager. Now, as you can see here, we have the three levels of Facebook campaigns. We have the campaign level, the ad set level, and the ads level. So first, we'll start with our campaigns. We need to go to our business settings and verify our email address. So now that I've verified the email for that account, I can create my first campaign. And as you can see, the first thing that we are going to be asked when creating a new campaign is what is going to be the campaign objective. So as you can see, we have awareness objectives like brand awareness and reach. We have consideration objectives like traffic, engagement, app installs, video views, lead generation, and messages, and conversion goals or objectives that are conversions, catalog, sales, and store traffic. In this case, and the most used campaigns on Facebook would be conversion campaigns, so that's why we are going to create a conversions campaign. Now, once we create our campaign, we'll be presented with the campaign creation interface. And we need to give our campaign a name. That would be our test campaign. Then we can select our ad categories. And this is important just if you have some campaigns that are related to social issues, elections, or politics. In this case, we will not select that. And here we have some options that we are going to be discussing later. Our main campaign objective, however, is important. We already selected the conversions here, and we can set up a spending limit over here. We are not going to do that, and we are going to ignore all these advanced features like A/B testing and campaign budget optimization for now. And that's going to be it for our campaign, right? We just give it a name, we give it an objective, and we are done with it. And then we can move on to the ad set. So on the ad set level, and by the way, do not think these options are not important. They are. They are very, very important in the beginning. So let's say that we are going to try and make a campaign for people to sign up for Masters Academy. So in this case, we want to create our ad set. Our ad set is going to contain a few very important things. So first of all, it will have its own conversion. It will have its own budget and schedule. It will have its own audience, which is our targeting options, and it will have different placements, meaning where things are going to show and what are we going to optimize for. So let's go through that and show you how it's done. First of all, we need to give it an ad set. Generally, it's best to name the ad sets for the targeting options and the placements. So let's say we'll call this ad CEOs mobile, right? So we are going to have our group of people, our targeting set, which is the CEOs, and we are going to be targeting them on mobile. We could also do something like the age, let's say 24 to 45, and we can also put some other designations here to identify our targeting as well, and placements. So now that we select the website, we need a Facebook pixel. That's why it's going to be very important for us to set up our pixel. Let's just quickly set up one, and we are going to just create a standard pixel. We are going to just continue what we were doing. We're not going to verify the pixel, and let's say we are going to choose the event that we want to optimize for purchase. As you can see, this one is red right now because we have not verified our pixel and because we don't have any conversion data coming up, but we do have our pixel ID and we have our pixel created already. As you can see, if we go now to business settings, you will be able to see that pixel here in the data sources, and there it is, right? So we have our pixel and its ID. But it's not really, we didn't really install it on our website for now. Now, we are not going to borrow with dynamic creatives and offers and say what is going to be our daily budget. We can either set a lifetime budget, which would say after you spend this amount, stop that campaign, which we almost never do unless we're doing some specifically timed promotion. So if we want to run a promotion for 3 days, then maybe a lifetime budget would be cool. But generally what we do is we use the daily budget. So let's say I want to give it $20 per day. In this case, I'm going to give it $1 per day. Just for example's sake, it could be $100, and it's going to start today, right now, and it's going to have an end date. Right now, I don't want it to have an end date. I want that campaign to run continuously. So now here I need to create my audience. In this audience, I want to target SEOs, right? So first of all, we need to set up our locations. We don't want Bulgaria. We want people who are living in this location, and let's say we are going to target Germany. Right, so in this case, we can go and quickly adjust our ad group name. That would be the CEOs in Germany. Now that we have selected our range, we said we are going to go for 24, 45 in terms of the age range. Genders, we are selecting CEOs, so CEOs could be both men and women. And now we want to add our detailed targeting. Our detailed targeting, as you can see here from the browsing, is similar to what we learned in the Google Ads course. And so here we have demographics, interests, and behaviors. We also have a search, right? So we want to go for the search option right now and go for Chief Executive Officer. But take a look at the fact that this is interests, additional interests, Chief Executive Officer. This does not mean that their profession is a CEO. So maybe we can see how we can find some more information about them. Let's see if we can find. We are going to search the job titles and say CEO here. You can't find that. Sometimes also, by the way, it's not great to use Google Chrome for that because it doesn't really work with some of these searches, but let's say for that sake that health and safety executive is going to be our targeting option for here, because I'm currently using Google Chrome to record this, and sometimes Google Chrome doesn't actually go very well with these targeting options and behaviors, and especially if you're using ad blockers and so on. Now, do we want to reach people beyond our targeting and selections? We don't. And languages, let's say that we only want to use English and German. And now I can also save this audience for later use. And here is where I select my placements. And as you can see here, I have Facebook, I have the audience network, I have Instagram and Messenger. So let's say I just want to go with Facebook, and maybe I don't want to go for the stories, right? So here you can select the placements. These placements vary and they become more and less over time, but that doesn't really affect how you can select them. Or you can go with the automatic placements, which means all the placements for which your ad creative is eligible for, right? So if you create maybe a carousel campaign, it's not going to be eligible everywhere, and so it's going to show only in the places where it can show. And now we are going to be optimizing for conversions. We can also optimize for conversion value. If you can see this over here, ad accounts owned by businesses new to Facebook products can use value optimization for ad delivery after several weeks, right? So later on, these options become available, but in this case, we want to optimize for the number of conversions. Later on, of course, we can optimize for conversion value and other cool things, but for now, I just want to show you the interface, right? Our pixel isn't ready. That's not a problem. Let's ignore that. And we can also add some things called cost controls over here, but we're not going to bother with that right now. So what we've done so far is we have our name, we have our conversion event, we are focusing on purchases and optimizing for them. We are also having our budget of $1 per day starting today, and we have our targeting options selected, which is Germany, ages, and demographics in this case. That would be these job titles. And then we can also exclude or narrow that audience in some cases, but we're not going to do that. Targeting German and English, and our ad set is ready. And so what we need to do now is we need to create our ad. Now I have to select my page over here, and that would be this one can do for now, and I can select my Instagram account from here if I have added it to my business manager. In this case I have not, and that's not a problem. I'll show you how to do that later on, and give it an ad name. And so let's say that would be start free now, right? And here we have to select the type of ad. In this case I'm going to use a single image. We're not going to bother with those advanced features for now as well. And we are just going to have to add our image. I'll upload one from the Masters Academy library and just pick one. Doesn't matter. Let's say this one with the ninja. It doesn't matter. We're just picking some picture right now. And this is how it's going to look. We can add those or crop them like that. In this case, that's fine. All of these are fine. Just go with it. And here we have our primary text. We have our headline. And all that time we can look at how our ad is going to look. We have the primary text, which is what's on top. We have the display URL, which we still haven't put here. We can we can put mastersacademy.com. You can see that you also have a property or identity over here. That's going to be the page from which you are going to advertise, which is obviously going to be the Masters Academy page in this case, but I'm now not going to look. Like, I can select that and select the Masters Academy page. I can also select the Instagram account for Startup Masters to select that identity, but that's not an issue right now. Then we have our display link, which could be different than the website URL, and I'll show you why. Because this website URL is where you also put your tracking things, right? So I would go to the analytics URL builder, and every single time I create a campaign, I would put that these options over here. And so my real URL is going to look something like this. And in this case, this is not what people are going to see if I just catch that part and put that here, or maybe even like put it up to here to include the Masters Academy, right? So that's what people are going to see, and that's the actual link with the tracking parameters in it. And then I can have a call to action. Let's say apply now is going to do the job for now. And I think we are ready to say publish. Audience is too narrow, right? Yeah. So that's because we selected some absurd option with the job title of health and safety executive. So let's just quickly fix that. We are going to go with demographics, work, job titles, and say president. That's highly annoying that it doesn't work on Chrome. So we are going to have to go with some other option. And if that happens to you, you should know that's because of Google Chrome. So let's say we are going to go with the interests and just go with something wide. We are going to target the Chief Executive Officer interest, which is not a good idea, but we are going to go with it just for example's sake. And we also have another issue with that ad so far. The audience is too narrow. That's not a problem anyways. And we are going to go and hit publish. Our country is fine. And that's completely fine. And now at this point, it's going to ask us for our payment information because we have not added that at all. Now, we can still publish that one as a draft. And we can still see what we need over here, right? So at the campaign level, we can see our delivery, we can see our campaign name, we can see our bid strategy, our budget, results, reach, impressions, cost per results, and so on. So here, I generally recommend that you customize your columns. And the general things that we really want to see most of the time are the things that we have here in Ad Planner. Right? So we want to see the impressions, we want to see the CTR, we want to see the conversions, we want to see the targets, the CPA, we want to see the conversion value, and the cost of goods sold we don't really need there because we know it, and how much have we spent so far. So let's just go with those and go with CTR. And we want the link click-through rate, right? Because sometimes on Facebook, Facebook is considering more than one thing a click, right? So if they click like, that's considered a click. So we want the link click-through rate, which is the actual CTR that we are used to. So let's add that. and we want our impressions. We can leave the reach over here. We are going to get rid of these results. Last significant edit is something that we don't really need unless we want to check for it. So we have our ad name, bid strategy, budget, reach, impressions. Then we have our CTR. Then cost per result is another one that's not really good. Engagement rate, conversion rate ranking, and quality ranking is good. And amount spent is the money that we've spent so far, right? So we are missing CTR. We are missing, we can go here and go to the conversion standard events. And so in this case, our conversion is going to be purchases. So we can want to see the total amount of purchases, the unique people who purchased, in maybe the purchase value, and the cost per purchase, right? Those are the ones that we were missing. We are going to order them over here and put them after the CTR. And we want to go with the clicks as well and see how many outbound clicks we got. That would be the clicks to our website. Put it here. So now we have our impressions, our clicks, our CTR, and our conversions, and we hit apply, and we can see all of these metrics over here, right? So that's how you customize your columns. You can also set this one as a default, or you can even name it as well and save it as a preset and give it a name. And also you can save it as a default and give it a name as well. And let's say make it our pro set. And so you can see here we have our ad set name, and that ad set is going to have its own columns, and we can customize those columns as well, or just keep the same ones. Sometimes you want to have different ones for your campaigns, ad sets, and ads, and that's fine, but generally those main ones are going to be fine. And you can see here that you can also customize it a little bit, because this one should be over here. You want to see them in the right order most of the time, right? So we have our budget, we have our reach, how many people have seen our ads, how many impressions do we have. These two kind of give us a feel for how many times we also show each ad to the people. So if you have 2,000 impressions and 1,000 people reach, those people saw our ads twice on average. We have our outbound clicks, which would be our clicks, our CTR, our conversion value. This is maybe not something that we want, so we can exclude it. Right, so those are the things that we want. We want our purchases conversion value. We want our website purchases conversions. So that's how many transactions we have or purchases. And we have our, this is quite annoying that it doesn't really want to go away. Let's fix it again. We don't want to show any of these actually. Just like that's going to be fine, right? So we have our purchase conversion value and purchases. And what are we missing? Oh, we are missing the cost per purchase, right? That's the CPA. So let's go for that and go with the conversions, find the purchases, and we want the cost. Oh, there it is. We want to have it near the cost per purchases and the amount spent at the end. Right, so now our columns are set up and we can quickly take a look and analyze our campaigns. Right, so in this short video, well, rather not that short, but I showed you the AdWords interface. We managed to see the 3 levels of a campaign, a few of the campaign settings, how we separate the campaign into campaign, ad sets, and ad creatives. We saw some basic reports and the setup requirements for the pixel and for your account. And we see that there's a lot of options that we don't know yet. So next, we are going to start actually setting up your account so that you have everything prepared to be able to make campaigns. And after we have everything set up, then we're going to talk about how to actually create useful and meaningful campaigns.